Hey there students, welcome to this tutorial on relative clauses. Today I'm going to explain to you what a relative clause is, that's one. Number two, what a defining relative clause is, and number three, what a non-defining relative clause is. Okay, let's get right down to the bottom. And let me start off by writing down a sentence which is very simple English. I'm going to write down the sentence, I love cars. Now, I love cars is a very simple sentence. If you say, hey, I love cars, that means that you love every single car out there. It's a Ferrari, it's a Maserati, it's a Mercedes, it doesn't really matter what car it is, you love every single car. But sometimes you would like to say that, I like cars, but not all the cars out there, but specific ones. So what you can do now is add information to change the sentence so that you're kind of saying something different from what you're initially in the first place you're saying. So you could say, I love cars, but not every single car. I love cars that are new. This bit is extra information. It changes the first bit of the sentence. Now you're not saying I love old cars. No, you're only loving the cars that are new. And because this changes the sentence, because if you leave it out, you're saying something completely different than from when you are adding it to the sentence. We have come to call this a defining relative clause. So let's just code it saying RC, defining relative clause. This is extra information, a relative clause, extra information that really helps you to understand what the person is really trying to say. Now, you can also add things to an English sentence that is interesting in terms of the extra information you get, but it's not important to understand the main message of the sentence. So let me give you an example of a sentence that contains a non-defining relative clause. For instance, that car over there, which I bought yesterday, is 25 years old. Hopefully, you have already identified or spotted what the relative clause is in this sentence. It is extra information given to you, and sometimes it helps to explain the sentence further, and sometimes it's just extra information. Now, based on the punctuation or the commas that you see here and here, it should already tell you that the information that's given to you in the sentence, the extra information, is perhaps not so much of interest for the general message. Now, let's underline this, which I bought yesterday. Now, if you leave out this bit of the sentence, which I bought yesterday, then you're left with a sentence which says, that car over there is 25 years old. That is the main message. You're saying, hey, look over there, that car over there, that's 25 years old. Does it matter that you bought it? Does it change the message that it is 25 years old? No, it doesn't. The only thing you're adding to the sentence is that now it's your car, and you have a car that's 25 years old. But the information, the main message in the sentence that it is 25 years old is not changed by the fact that you bought it. Okay. And because it doesn't define the sentence in a way, it doesn't change the meaning of the sentence, we call this a non-defining relative clause. How can you spot non-defining relative clauses? Look at the commas. Very often, commas that are added to a sentence will imply or will tell you that it is non-defining. So the information added is not really all that vital. So the last thing that I'm going to explain to you is that the word that, to refer back to a sentence, in this case, I love cars that, which refers back to the car, the word that is very often or most commonly used in defining clauses because it adds information that is important to understand. Therefore, most of the times, and of course there are exceptions because this is the English language, let's make that clear, there will not be a comma in front of the word that when you are using it as a relative clause. So try to avoid doing so. If you want to refer back to a thing, like in this case, the word which, right? Because that also refers back to a car. Then use the word which and not the word that. If you refer back to a person, perhaps you already know, In English, we use the word who. Okay. Thanks for watching the tutorial. Just browse through on my website on www.jeroenvanhilden.nl. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. All right. Bye-bye.